Hello everyone and welcome back to another video with me today. For today's video, I wanted to take a few steps back because I know I have a lot of beginners on my channel here, and I wanted to go over the basic things you need to know in Cricut Design Space and a general overview of all the tools and everything you need to know. So kind of like a Cricut Design Space 101, hence the thumbnail. I have Google open right here, but I also have Cricut Design Space downloaded. So if you don't know, there are two ways that you can open Cricut Design Space. So I'm gonna just Google Cricut Design Space, and as you can see, it'll lead us to this first website right here, which is Design Space from Cricut.com's website. And up top, if you click on Cricut Design Space, there are two ways that you can see that I just mentioned. So obviously you have to download Cricut Design Space onto your computer for it to work. So since I already have it downloaded, I have it open right here. So I'm going to go to my projects up here. And to start with an overview, I have lots and lots of projects. As you can see, these are like all of my past YouTube videos and also GIFs and things that I've made for people. This was from my last video, as you can see. So over here on the left hand side, I'm just gonna go over these really quick. This is the new button. So if you wanted to create a new project, you can click new. Over here are templates. So if you wanted to, say you wanted to create a t-shirt, or you had like these banners printed out, what's great about these templates is that you can gauge what size you need for the design and whatnot. There's everything from like classic t-shirts to if you're making a clock, like any project you can think of, you'll just click on that. And here it has everything perfectly lined up, and then you can start creating, but I don't need that, so I'm going to get rid of that. On the project side, this is accessible for Cricut Access members. So unfortunately, I'm not a Cricut Access member because I do make a lot of my own designs and whatnot. As you can see, this little green logo means that it is for Cricut Access members, so you would have to pay for it if you did not have the monthly subscription. So all of these, again, like you could go into like the Cricut community, accessories, like anything for any project you can think of. These are just great ways for beginners, especially if you need a wine glass to make, for example, and you don't know what to put on it, or you have a t-shirt that you want to make. A lot of people will come on here and just make their designs easily accessible for those who are creating projects. Cricut also has images, so you can browse all these images. Again, there's all like Cricut Access ones over here. I'm pretty sure there are some free ones. Yeah, but over here you can filter by the project type. So if you're doing cards, the operation type, so if you have a print and cut design, or if you have a cut only design, do it by the language as well, the material, which again, that's probably how you'd want to filter it, since if you're heat pressing, you want to do iron on. If you're doing regular vinyl, obviously vinyl. And then over here is the text button. I will get into the text button in a little bit because I want to go over some things that you guys might be making mistakes for when it comes to adding text and fonts and whatnot. Shapes, of course, are just the shapes that Cricut comes with. It comes with 9 shapes and this score line. And then if you have your own design that you've made offline or on your iPad or on, your computer, etc., you can click upload and upload the image right here. So now I'm going to do a new project and get rid of that. So the first things first, you want to make sure that you're in the right Cricut machine. So I have the Cricut Maker. If you have the Cricut Joy, or if you had the Explorer, I would have been choosing my Explorer. So that kind of differentiates between the two. I've had that happen to me when I first bought my Cricut Maker. I accidentally was in the Explorer, so just make sure you're in the right one. That's probably the first thing we should know about. Let's say we want to make a project. Now you can also change the settings to the background, like this grid, if you don't like it. I did explain this in my Cricut tips and tricks video, which I will link here. It kind of is a more advanced video if you're just starting out, so I don't want to get into that. The main thing I think a lot of people are having difficulty with is the text button. So if you have the text right here, let's type in my name, Amy. These 4 buttons I'll go over. If you click this X button, it deletes it. Obviously, we don't want to do that, but just showing you for video preferences. This will rotate the design. So you can either rotate it like this, and you can see this changed here, or you can type it in here and do like 300, etc., but we're going to change it back to 0. Here, this button on the bottom right will adjust the size, so you can make it bigger like this, make it smaller, or again, you could change the font size manually here to change it to like 70 or whatever you want. And then here is the unlock button, so you have to be very careful. Sometimes you don't realize you're checking the unlock button, and it will make your design very wonky. When you click this, you will want to click the bottom right icon, which either makes it wider like this, or you can make the text more narrow like this. Depending on the font, sometimes I will make it a little bit wider, just a smidge. Yeah, so you could change the width and the narrowness of the text. I'm gonna go into letter spacing. So this is a bad font to go over, but if you want to change the font, obviously you'll click the text, you'll click the font over here, and these are all the fonts. Again, these are the ones for Cricut Access members. You can download them. You would have to pay, see it says like $6.99, like whatever these prices are. I just go through system because I've downloaded my own fonts over the years. Oh, Amy, pick a font. Oh, I've talked about this font a lot. This is Eucalyptus Spearmint. A lot of people don't realize that when they start out with Cricut projects with script fonts, people leave it like this. Now, if you like the way this looks truly, you can do this. If you're a business, that's how the client wants it, totally fine. However, when you're writing script, a lot of people, I guess you don't really think about this when we design things here in Cricut. Cricut Design Space doesn't automatically connect these. So say for see, even when you see this, you can see all these letters are connected because it's a script font. You know, when you write in script, your hand doesn't lift every time you write a letter. That's why it's called script, you know, because you're constantly using that hand. So again, this is how it's supposed to look like. So a lot of people, they forget to adjust the letter spacing. So here I'm going to show you this option right here is the letter spacing button. Now, if you do the down arrow, this is the way you want it, especially for script fonts, anything like that. You want to adjust it like this. And that looks pretty good to me. If you had a regular font like this one, for example, you might want the letter spacing to remain like this, you might want it to be closer like this, or you might want it spaced out like this, because a lot of people do certain designs where they want the letters more spaced out. So that's kind of the only way that you'd want to click the up arrow for that button. Otherwise, you're always going to click the down arrow. And not always it's going to be the same size, like same amount. For each font, it's very different. You can click this 2 times and it'd be perfect. You might have to click this 10 times in order for it to be all connected. That is a big mistake that I think a lot of beginners forget. And also, if you don't know how to download fonts, I have plenty of videos on downloading fonts to Cricut Design Space, so definitely check out those videos. I will put the card playlist right here so you guys can see that and view those videos because it's super helpful. So we went over the letter spacing. Now say you want to make a ring dish and you want to click make it. Sometimes what happens is a lot of these fonts, it's not so easy like this to just adjust the letter spacing. Sometimes all of the letters won't evenly do the letter space. So say for example, I'm going to type in a longer name. And now I'm going to adjust the letter spacing. And there. Now, see for example, like here, the E is not fully attached to the S here. Everything else looks pretty good, right? So in cases like this, you're going to want to have to ungroup this design, which means all of these letters will be individual. So you'll click ungroup, and now see A is separate, C, S, etc. So now a little trick I like to do is instead of clicking on this and moving this over, I like how these are already attached. Highlight the S, C, and A. So just hold on to your mouse pad or your mouse and highlight the S, C, and A. Or what you can do is you can click here, hold down the shift button, click the C and S, and then you want to drag this over. Now you can either drag it over, or what I like to do to make it more even and so it's not adjusted like too crazily, I use my keypad and I use the left arrow button. and that looks great. So I'm hiding this just for the purposes of the video. So now, say for example, you want to make this, right? This is the size, say for example, you want to have. You make it. Well, what Cricut does is, now it's not all attached. So you did all the work for nothing. No, not necessarily. So click cancel. We're gonna go back here, and what we have to do is highlight this whole design and group it. So now let's click make it. Cricut did it again. Nope, that's not good enough either. So there are two ways that you can do this. I personally like to do the first way, which is I like to weld the design. I do have a full video again on the weld tool, which if you weld something, you cannot undo it once you click this save button right here. If you made a mistake, you can definitely click the undo button. I clicked it again. Or what you can do is you can click the attach button. Now, however, Cricut is going to cut it a little bit differently if you don't weld it. So that's why, and attach button, you can detach it. So that's why I like to just weld it. And then again, you'll click make it, and it's all just one line. So it's literally like how if you wrote Francesca, it would cut it just as one whole grouping together, which is what we want. In this case with my name, I didn't have to do that because it was already attached as one. But once you ungroup it, it must be welded. Sometimes this will happen, so let's undo a few steps here. I'm gonna try and get maybe a different font here. I'm gonna still type in the word Francesca. Okay, let's go to Medina script. This is one of my favorite script fonts that I have downloaded. Adjust the letter spacing. Keep going. Sometimes what happens is you'll adjust the letter spacing too much and the letters are too close. You'll weld it, and sometimes this will happen with the font where the letters disappear, or this A will get filled in. And the reason why it gets filled in is because you welded everything too close. Like, these letters are way, way, way too close to each other than they should be. I like to zoom in all the way when I am attaching letters together and get them as close, like, you don't want it here, but you want it like right here, so it's perfect. Same thing with here, like, make sure it's right there. The C, like, you don't want it this far, but you want it just touching here. Sometimes, depending on the font, it can be a little touchy and stuff. So just have patience with it. So if I group and weld this, it will not hide the C anymore, and it'll be okay. So that was going over just welding too closely to the letters. You want to make sure that they are evenly spread out, and you don't want any letter too close to one another. Now I'm going to go over uploading images into Cricut Design Space, but this is the upload tool that you'll want to use. So we'll click upload and upload image. You can either drag the file into here, which here it shows it's either PNG, JPEG, GIF, SVG, etc. into here. Say for example, I'm gonna minus this, you had an image on your desktop, you can drag it into here, or you can click browse and do it manually. So here's this little diamond. I will insert this just to show you guys, and this is a good example too. I think I actually made this for myself, like I made it as a gift. So you can upload images from Google if you're using for a personal use only, and personal use is for yourself, or if you're using it for a gift, you're not making any profit off of this. It is personal use. And we'll click open. Now, I want just this area, you know, the diamond and the 3 little dashes. You can click complex, or you can click simple. Simple I prefer when I'm doing just these simple designs here, because it removes that background. You see how it was? If you went to complex, it had that little like background. You want to keep it all one color, so it's easier to remove. So I'll show you why in a second. So say we did complex, right? Click continue. You want to remove this background area. The problem is you click this, and now you have to click all these little areas, and you might not get all of these background spaces like cleared. And when you click preview, it looks like this. It's not a clean cut image. So we're gonna go to simple. So we'll click simple, click continue. If you don't have it selected, you have this button which says select and erase, and you tap it right here. And see, it is a clean cut image. Click all of these insides and preview, and here it is. So much better. But this is the way that you would upload and remove the background from an image. And if you want to continue, you'll click continue. You'll always want to select it as a cut image if we're using this for vinyl or HTV vinyl. I am planning on making an extensive video on print and cut and everything that goes into it. If you are interested in that video, please let me know in the comment section, because I know a lot of you have had some confusion with making stickers and just any print and cut projects. So we'll click it as a cut image, click upload. It uploads it into all of your recent uploads. You'll select this again, the image, and insert it. And then it inserts it into Cricut Design Space, where you can either make the size, adjust it, all that fun stuff. And now the last part is that, so this is kind of a bad example. With vinyl, when you click make it, you don't have to weld it or anything because this is an SVG. We can keep this the way it is and click continue. Say you wanted to use this as a project for if you're applying this with HTV vinyl, if you are using your Cricut Easy Press and iron for a t-shirt or a bag, anything that you're heat pressing for, you want to make sure to mirror your design. Now this one, obviously you can't really tell that you mirrored it since it is so symmetrical, but say I typed in my name again and made sure, like so, this is a good example. We'll click make it. Now, if you don't mirror your design, you're not going to be able to apply correctly. So you need to mirror that. So it looks a little funky right here, obviously, but when you create it, the vinyl will know and the Cricut will cut it the proper way. All right, and I think that sums up my basic Cricut Design Space 101 video. I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section. Click my subscribe button if you do want to see more basic beginner tutorials like this. Again, I did mention I will be doing a print and cut tutorial as well that will explain everything in detail about print and cut and what it pertains to. So thank you again for watching this video, and I will see everyone in the next one. Bye!